Hi everyone, Chris Natsky here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week on Facebook Live. I have a question for you. What makes you come alive? You know, I don't know about you, but I have been so blessed throughout my life to have an amazing number of mentors, coaches, instructors that have helped me along the way, helped me along my path to inspire me and to guide me. And what's so interesting about this as I reflect on this is all these people that helped me, all these people that were always there for me, they had three things in common. Number one, they were great at what they did. They were absolute experts. They were masters. Number two, they had this unselfishness about them that they wanted to help me move ahead, and they were perfectly willing to share everything that they had to help me along that way. And then finally, and probably most importantly, they loved what they did. What they did actually made them come alive. And I was reflecting on this most recently because I had an opportunity to honor one of my mentors, one of my friends who's helped me for the last 8 to 10 years in my professional speaking career, and his name is Joe Sabo. Now, for those of you in the Denver area, or those of you that are national speakers, Joe's an absolute legend. I mean, he's 88 years old now, but man, the history that he has is unbelievable. He started his career in 1974, and at that time he was actually booking speakers and some of the top people in the fields. It was the Zig Ziglars, the Og Mendingos, the Cavett Roberts, the top people in the industry. And from that, what Joe did is he realized what his love was. And his love is to speak himself, but also to teach people to do the same, to find their voice and do the same. So what was so interesting about this weekend is I had an opportunity, along with 30 of Joe's closest friends and students, to honor him in his life. In fact, I was able to be the MC of this event. And I'll tell you what, it was so incredible because what we did is we all got together to honor Joe and honor his life, not only to share stories, but also share in his banana meringue pie that he loves so much. And what was so cool about this is, as I was reflecting on this, I started to think about, some of the things that he had taught me throughout the years. And number one is, I remember him very distinctly looking me in the eye and saying, "Chris, speakers write and writers speak." And every time he would see me, he'd say that until finally I published my first book, Black Belt Leadership. Second of all, he always used to say, he has this list of where he makes available of all the service organizations in Denver that need speakers. And he would always say, "Hey, on Wednesdays, everybody, there are over 50 organizations that need speakers in Denver alone." And he said, "They'll let you speak and they'll feed you. What a deal." And from that encouragement, I did scores of those talks, and it literally propelled me into my professional speaking career, which I now get to do all over the country and share my message. And then finally, probably what Joe is most known for is the phrase, "You don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great." And I can't tell you how many times as an entrepreneur, and those of you who are entrepreneurs, or maybe even not, but you know that sometimes that you just need a fire lit underneath you. You're afraid to make a move. And I can't tell you how many times in my life when I was hesitant, when I was resisting, when I was procrastinating, I heard those words of wisdom that you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great. So, as we went through this as this thing evolved with Joe and I was able to MC, what we did is we asked people to stand up and share what Joe meant to them. And of course, the stories all started with stories of him being able to help people and propel them into their own speaking career. But even though they all started in that, what they all ended up with is the impact that Joe had made on their lives, the impact he had made on their lives. And it wasn't just about how to become a speaker, it's how to become a better human being. Both Joe and his former wife Judy, the impact that they made. And what occurred to me when I was listening to that is, when we follow our bliss, when we follow what makes us come alive, that's what allows us to have the energy. And then when we share that, that's what makes us allows us to have the biggest impact we can have on other people's lives. So my question for you this week is simple. What makes you come alive? And if you're not doing it right now, why not? And it doesn't need to be a tremendous career change. You could still continue to do a career, but what are the things that you maybe are doing that you could do outside of your career if you're not ready to make that leap? Is it being in nature? Is it teaching? Is it singing? Is it the arts? Is it speaking? What is it for you? And if you haven't done it yet, why not? Because there's no time like the present. And when you look back at a man like Joe and the impact that he's made on people's lives, you get to see the power and the magic when someone follows what their heart tells them to do, and then what they do is they focus on sharing that with the world, the impact they can make. So that's my challenge for you this week. What makes you come alive? And if you're not doing it, why not? And get out there and do it. Because as Howard Thurman says, we don't need to ask what the world needs. We need to ask what makes us come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is more people who are alive. So that's what I've got for you this week, folks. Thanks so much for listening. This is Chris Natsky with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. If you enjoyed this, please like it, share, comment on what makes you come alive. And we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.